Well, this is always such a fun night because typically over the last 8 months we are either speaking on the telephone or we're on Zoom screens together. I love that Sharon Bond, who is one of the tallest people in the room, walked in and said, "Gosh, I forget that you're so tall." I'm like, "What, do I have short energy on Zoom?" Sharon has very tall energy on Zoom. So, yes. But it is such a great night. Appreciate you all showing up, coming out, and being together. I do want to start by acknowledging someone who actually planned tonight's event and is the person that spared no effort in making this a memorable occasion. That is our colleague, Katie Torrey. Yes. So I know I get to be your primary point of contact mostly day to day, but Katie is doing so much behind the scenes to support the committee and the larger foundation work, so we really appreciate all that she does. As the days start to get shorter and cooler and we're all spending more time inside, my spouse Luke and I recently began rewatching the popular Netflix series The Crown. It's amazing that in the kind of unsettled times that we are living in, that there is still so much relevance in the words and actions of prior leaders. One featured in that show is Winston Churchill. In one of the recent episodes, he delivered his famous line, "We make a living by what we get, we make a life by what we give." And despite the compounding challenges we seem to be facing, hearing these words in that episode, planning for this event, snapped into focus for me the incredible and remarkable giving, service, and impact that takes place on the Site Visits Committee. Just a few stats if you haven't made it over to the piano. 9 months, 84 volunteers, 368 nonprofits, 1,900 hours of service, and $3.8 million in Mad Money awarded. As someone who read all 736 of your site visit reports, it is enormously humbling and inspiring to consider the collective consequence of everyone in this room tonight. Because of the relationships that you foster and the nonprofits that you deploy significant funding to, it's enabled children to have access to high quality after school programs, diabetes patients to have medically tailored meals, people experiencing homelessness to have access and pathways to shelter. I could go on and on. It actually reminds me of another quote by Margaret Mead, which is a favorite of Joyce Cummings, which says, "Never doubt that a small group of thoughtful, committed citizens can change the world. Indeed, it is the only thing that ever has." I think nothing actually makes these words truer than a letter from a current grantee that we got just last week, and I want to share it with you. They wrote, "The involvement of our Cummings site visitors has quite literally transformed our organization this year. The Mad Money grant will enable us to go boldly forward in ways that we have been unable to do before. We plan to significantly increase our mental health support that we can provide on a weekly basis to youth. No intake screen, no waiting list, no insurance, no cost." At my board's July meeting, there had been an extensive discussion about the need for more mental health support for youth. As much as all of us around the table wanted to provide the additional hours of counseling, we didn't have the budget for it. Now we do. While our staff felt that the Cummings site visitors were well informed about our organization and seemed eager to learn all they could about our work, I had absolutely no idea the impact that those 90 minutes were going to have. What an amazing difference your site visitors have made on Nagley and North Shore LGBTQ youth. They are truly the rainbow in someone else's cloud.
Oh, I love that.
And that's what it's all about. Experiencing impact firsthand, showing up by being out in the community, engaging in authentic dialogue with nonprofits. It's created a much more meaningful and supportive model of philanthropy than simply writing checks. To accomplish all this, you took time away from your day jobs, from your retirements, from your families to learn about critical work taking place in our shared communities, and you addressed some of the most urgent and promising opportunities for additional funding discovered during your site visits. So on behalf of the Cummings team, we extend our deepest gratitude for your generous investment of time in the foundation, and by extension, the hundreds of nonprofits you enable it to support every year. Now, I'm not done. They gave me a microphone. We have one more segment to go. We're getting close, I promise. Next, we're going to turn to and acknowledge our wonderful committee chairs, Karen Grant, Robert Keith, Nancy Powers, Greg Smith, and Susan Solomont. From monitoring Google Sheets to refereeing spirited Mad Money debates to being a thoughtful thought partner to your fellow site visitors. These works were often subtle, but are absolutely essential, and they do not go unnoticed by all of us. Their leadership, combined with the other 80 extraordinary volunteers, stretches far beyond what the foundation could ever hope to employ as a professional staff. And it's pretty amazing when you consider the scale at which the committee operates today, knowing that it all started with a single site visitor, Bob Keith, who visited 15 organizations in 2017.
Wow.
Now, 20.
I was 20.
One little time fact check. Tis the season to do that. Very good, yes. Since we're on the topic of Bob, I think that this is the perfect occasion, actually, to announce some news that was made public just a few days ago. It is entirely fitting now that he has crossed a decade of service as the Foundation's inaugural volunteer that the Massachusetts chapter of the Association of Fundraising Professionals has bestowed upon Bob its Big Heart Service Award for 2024. This annual honor was created to recognize and celebrate a greater Bostonian whose donation of time has inspired others to give back. I cannot think of a more appropriately named award, Bob, for you to hold this year. Countless nonprofit leaders, daily parishioners at St. Anthony's Shrine, his fellow Cummings volunteers, the students who have benefited from the many scholarships he has set up, clients and colleagues at Wilmer Hale, and anybody who comes into contact with Bob, they are left better off because of his relentlessly positive attitude, that special ability to see the absolute best in all people, and his genuine resolve to take any action he can to improve the lives of others. So on behalf of all of us, Bob, congratulations. So with that, let's get back to mingling and the real purpose for our gathering tonight, which is to give the Cummings team an opportunity to connect with each of you and to say thank you for being shared stewards of Cummings Foundation. So again, thank you so much.
Thank you.